Good day to everyone. So our topic for today is about the theories of crime and delinquency. So we all know that delinquency is any behavior that is prohibited by the juvenile law of the state. Okay. So when we say theory, it is a principle of or an idea that attempts to define and explain a phenomenon. And a jury is also used to design programs and policies in efforts to decrease delinquency. So I will discuss to you the different theories of crime and delinquency. So first is demology. So when we say demology or the supernatural theory, it blames delinquency on demonic possession. So people believe, especially the Middle Ages, okay, that the criminals were possessed by the devil. Okay? So pag-aari daw ng sinasapian ng mga demonyo yung mga tao ay nakakagawa ng krimen or delinquent acts. So the earliest explanation for divine behavior attributed crime to supernatural forces. Okay. So it also believed that one method to determine the guilt or innocence of a person was by means of trial by ordeal or an ordeal. Okay, this was the first form of detecting deception. Okay? Kung sino yung inosente o kung sino yung gumawa ng krimen. Okay? So another is the classical school of criminology. In the classical school of criminology, okay, state that people are rational, intelligent, and intelligent beings who exercise free will or the ability to make choices. So, in this classical theory or classical school of criminology, people calculate the cost and benefits of their behavior before they act. Okay? So, the classical school of thought focuses on the offense committed rather than the offender. Okay? Nakatuon yung kanilang pansin sa nagawang krimen kaysa sa gumawa ng krimen. Okay? So this classical school of criminology represented primarily in the works of Cesar Beccaria and Jeremy Bentham, because Jeremy Bentham and Cesar Beccaria are the proponents of a classical theory. Okay? So Cesar Beccaria believes that people were rational, intelligent beings who exercise free will, and punishment that must be certain, severe, and administered swiftly. Okay. Cesar Beccaria believed that they commit crime or delinquent acts because they imagine greater gains coming from crime than conformity. Okay. He also works or his works in essay on crimes and punishment. Okay, it's considered the most influential papers na isinulat ni Cesar Beccaria and became the basis for the 1791 Criminal Code of France and four ideas. What are the ideas? Okay, such as people are innocent until proven guilty, people cannot be forced to testify against themselves, people have the right to counsel or to confront their accusers, and people have the right to a speedy trial by a jury of their peers as found in the US and Philippine Constitution. Okay, so This is the basis. Okay? The essay on crimes and punishment. When you say free will, it is the ability to make a choice among various alternatives. May kalayaan tayong pumili kung ano yung gusto natin. While the hedonistic is, it is an attempt to maximize the pleasure and pain. Okay. So si Jeremy Bentham naman, okay, he is utilitarian. Okay, ayun utilitarian who argued that the purpose of criminal law was to provide for greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. Okay. He based his ideas about crime on the belief that people sought out pleasure and avoided pain. Okay. He also said that the punishment must fit the crime. But the idea of Bentham's radically transformed in the 19th century English penal code known as the Bloody Code. Since people were executed for crimes such as stealing associated with gypsies and damaging fish ponds. Okay. Yan yung konsepto naman ni Jeremy Bentham. Okay. Another one is the neoclassical. So in the neoclassical, they also strongly argued the rigidity of classical school theory. It did not take into account why people commit crime. Instead, sabi ng neoclassical is all people were held equally responsible for their behavior. Okay? So those who commit similar crimes receive identical punishment. Okay? So the neoclassical is the modification of classical school and believe that certain factors such as insanity o yung pagkabaliw will inhibit the exercise of free will. Okay, and also children, especially below 7 years old, insane and incompetent are not responsible for their behavior as adults. The sane and competent kasi nga hindi pa nila alam yung tama at mali sa kanilang mga ginagawa. So sabi ng neoclassical, hindi dapat kasali ito sa punishment. Okay? The 7 years of age were exempted from the law. Okay? So the modern law is based on the neoclassical philosophy, free wills, tempered by exceptions. Ito yung mga mitigating circumstances. Ano yung mga mitigating circumstances na yan? Such as age, mental condition, okay, sometimes influence the choices that are made and affect a person's ability to form criminal intent. Okay? So sa batas natin ito yung tinatawag na guilty mind or yung mens rea. So this is why children under the age of 7 cannot legally commit a crime. So they are presumed to be not capable of keeping a guilty mind. Another one is the rational choice theory. So when we say rational choice theory, it supports the idea that since the offender has made a rational choice to commit the offense, the focus to be on this offense and not to the offender. Okay? So the choice theorists believe that the way to control delinquency is to have offenders fear of punishment. Okay? Dapat matakot sila sa punishment para mapigilan natin yung or makontrol natin yung tinatawag na delinquency. Okay? So in the rational choice theory, the offenders collect, process, and evaluate information about the crime and make a decision whether to commit it after they have weighted the cost and benefits in doing so. Okay, so they decide where to commit it or where what or who or what to target and how to execute. Okay, tinitimbang yan. Okay, Because the choice jurists believe that the way to control delinquency is to have dependence with punishment, and the role of punishment is to make the risk of committing delinquent acts greater than any pleasure they experience in committing the delinquent acts. Okay? So those who support the use of punishment to control delinquency assume that juveniles are making a choice to commit criminal acts. Okay? And can be deterred. Okay? Mapipigilan niya, matatakot if the risk outweigh the benefit. Okay? So next is the routine activity theory. In the routine activity theory, uh, this is based on the rational choice. So it was developed by Lawrence Cohen and Marcus Felson. So the theory contends that the motivation to commit crime and the supply of offenders are constant. Okay? It is focused on the crime target, okay, or anything an offender wants to take control. So before the crime will occur, there are three elements must come together. We have the motivated offender, suitable target, and the absence of a capable guardian. So ano yung mga tinatawag nating motivated offender na yan? Example is yung mga drug addicts, okay? Drug abusing juveniles na nangangailangan ng pera para sa drugs. O, sa kanilang mga bisyo, yun yung mga motivated offender. Suitable target. Okay? Yung mga suitable target na yan is yung mga madaling makuha, madaling maibenta. Okay? Yun yung mga suitable target na yan. Yung madali nilang manakaw. Okay? And the absence of capable guardian, sino yung mga capable guardian na yan? It's either the homeowners and the neighbors, okay, nawala sa bahay, yung mga tao sa bahay, wala. Okay, pumunta sa bakasyon. So, that is the absence of a capable guardian. Okay, that is the routine theory. So, before the crime will occur, these three elements will come, elements must come together. Okay. So next is the deterrence theory. So the deterrence theory follows directly from the rational choice theory. Okay. So according to this theory, juveniles commit crime because they make a choice to do so. Okay. And this choice is based on the perceived risk and benefits of committing the delinquent act. Okay. So if the risk or the what we call the yung risk na tinatawag is yung apprehension and punishment, yung mahuhuli sila at mapaparusahan, that is the risk, they outweigh the benefits, the person will not commit act. So, kung alam ng tao na kapag nahuli siya ay at mapaparusahan, maaaring hindi siya makagawa ng krimen or hindi siya gagawa ng krimen. Okay? The juvenile will be deterred from committing the delinquent act because of the threat of punishment. So there are two kinds of deterrence. We have general deterrence and the specific deterrence. So when we say general deterrence, it seeks to discourage would-be delinquents from committing delinquents acts because of the threat of punishment. Okay? For example, yung isang judge, sinabi niya sa isang defendant, okay, na uh, hindi ka mabibitay, okay, because ikaw yung nagnakaw, but in order that others may not do what you have done, okay, para hindi ka tularan ng mga tao, kaya kailangan mong maparusahan. That is general deterrence. Okay, ikaw ay paparusahan para matakot yung mga tao sa community na hindi gagawin yung ginawa mo. Okay. How about specific deterrence? Okay, it is applied to the individual who committed an offense. Okay, this is a sanction imposed on adjudicated delinquents in order to prevent them from continuing to commit delinquent acts in the future. Okay, halimbawa, ang isang teenage girl or youth na naaresto, yung mga minor de edad, for shoplifting. Okay? Sasabihin sa kanya is ikaw ay magko-community service ng 50 hours, okay, as a sanction. Okay? Magkaroon na gumawa ka ng community service. Okay? Dahil sa pagnakaw mo sa mga grocery dun sa store. Okay? So, yung babae na yan, hindi nagagawa ng further acts of delinquency because of the sanction imposed. Okay? So, she has been specifically deterred. That is specific deterrence. Okay? So, what are the four assumptions of deterrence theory? We have the individuals. First, individuals are rational actors. Okay? Bakit individuals are rational actors? Because juveniles weigh the potential risk and benefits of committing a delinquent act and then make a conscious decision or whether to commit the offense. Next is juveniles must be aware of the penalty for particular crimes. Okay? And the juveniles must view the risk as unpleasant. Okay? If a juvenile does not think apprehension and incarceration are unpleasant, then he or she will not be deterred. Okay? And four is, in order for deterrence to be effective, the sanction must be swift, certain, and severe. So, the sanction must be imposed quickly, okay, to have the greatest deterrent effect, and there must be high probability that a sanction will be imposed. Okay? So it is not the actual certainty, severity, and swiftness of the sanction that serves as the deterrent, but rather the juvenile's perception that the sanction is severe and swift. So that is the explanation for that. Okay. So next is biological theories. So when we say biological theories, uh, the choice and deterrence theories are based on the classical and criminological thought. So the first theories developed from the positive school. Dito tayo sa positive school of criminology or the positive school theory, okay, were biological theories. So the positivist school of criminology support the argument that biological differences exist between delinquents and non-delinquents. Okay? So there are what we call theories, okay, under this biological. Okay, the one is the atavism theory. Okay, when we say atavism, okay, means the reversion to a primitive type. Okay, so the appearance in a person of physical features thought to be from earlier stage of human evolution kasi naniniwala siya sa the evolution of man. Okay. So Lombroso believed that the brains of criminals were biological throwbacks to primitive man, making criminals both more aggressive and savage. Okay, because Cesar Lombroso studied the cadavers of 66 male criminals and discovered several characteristics that were unique to these criminals. So what are these characteristics known as atavistic anomalies? Okay, first is the skull that were noticeably larger, smaller than normal. Yung kanilang bungo ay mas malaki o kaya mas maliit kaysa sa normal. Okay, large protruding jaws, canine teeth, high foreheads, maluwang ang noo, flattened noses, mga pango. Okay, parang kay King Kong, deep closed set eyes, okay, yung mga talukap ng mata, malalalim, okay, especially large or small ears, very long arms or legs, and asymmetrical face. These are the characteristic. Okay, these characteristics were similar to those found in primitive humans. Okay, ano yung mga primitive humans? Yung mga ape. Okay. Lombroso argued that some individuals were genetic throwbacks to a more primitive time and were less evolved than other people. Okay. Because si Cesar Lombroso estimated that 40% of all individuals were atavistic or genetic throwbacks. Okay. So next biological theory is the somatotype theory of William Sheldon, or what we call somatotyping. Okay, so William Sheldon focuses on somatotype or the body type as linked to delinquency. Okay. First body type is the endomorph. When you say endomorph, relatively great development of digestive viscera, tendency to put on fat, okay, soft roundness through various regions of the body, and short tapering limbs. Small bones, soft, smooth, and velvety skin. Yung mga matataba, ito, mga bilugan. Ito yung mga endomorph. Okay. So, next is the mesomorph, relative predominance. Ito yung mga masculine, yung mga mahilig sa sports na. Yung mga macho. Okay. So, they have large trunk, heavy chest, large twist. Ito yung sample ng mesomorph. Okay, and the other one is the ectomorph. Okay, relative predominance of skin and its appendages, which includes the nervous system, lean, fragile, delicate body, small, delicate bones, droppy shoulders, small face. Okay, ito yung mga sobrang payat. Okay. This is an example of ectomorph. So these are the types or body types, okay, in relation to delinquency, according to William Sheldon. Another one is the physiognomy. When we say physiognomy, the study of facial features of a person in relation to criminal behavior. Okay, this is done to determine whether the shape of the ears, the shape of the nose, the shape of the eyes, and the distances between them were associated with antisocial behavior. Meron daw kaugnayan yung pagmumukha natin sa antisocial behavior. And this was founded by J. Baptiste de la Porte and Johann Caspar Labatero. They are the one of the first to suggest a link between facial figures and crime. Another one is phrenology. So this was developed in 1810, okay, by Franz Joseph Gall. So when you say phrenology, it is the study of the external formation of the skull, indicating the conformation of the brain and the development of its various parts in relation to the behavior of criminals. Okay, so this word phrenology comes from the Greek word mind and logos, knowledge. Okay, so meron daw kaugnayan yung mga bumps sa yung head natin, yung skull natin sa paggawa ng krimen or delinquency act. Okay, so next is the psychological theories. So in the psychological theories, the second set of theories derived from the positive school of criminological thought. Okay, and they support the contention that there are psychological differences between delinquents and non-delinquents. So first, in the psychological theories is the psychoanalytic theory, developed by Simon Freud. Okay. According to Simon Freud, there are three parts of personality of a person. First is the id. When we say id, it is a collection of their conscious biological and psychological desires and instinct, including sex and aggression. This is what we call pleasure principle. Okay? Yung id na yan, ito yung impulse, ito yung desire, ito yung pleasure natin. Okay? So, the id is present at birth. Okay? Nung pinanak tayo, nung bata tayo, meron na ito yung id. Okay? Na kapag hindi natin na i-check ito, it will destroy a person. Okay? Kasi ang kailangan ng bata is instant gratification without concern the rights or concern for the rights of others. Okay? Next is the ego. It represents the identity and actual behavior of individual. This is the reality principle. Ito na yung tinatawag natin sense of self or the realistic. Okay? So, this ego grows from the id and represent the problem-solving dimension of the personality. So, this ego deals with reality, differentiating it from fantasy. Okay. So, it teaches children to delay gratification because acting on impulse will get them into trouble. Ito yung tinatawag nating reality principle. Yan. Kung makikita nyo sa example, meron siyang mature, moral, ethical values, parental. That is super ego. Ego may mature, okay, adaptive behavior. This is the ego. While the super ego, ito na yung conscience of a person. It represents the conscience and moral character. Okay? Makikita nyo sa example, mayroon siyang moral, ethical values, parental. Okay? Between the id and the ego. Okay? Ito yung super ego, ito yung tinatawag nating control of impulse, okay? Yung conscience. Okay? It allows a person to feel pride, shame, and guilt. Okay? The conflict between the id and the super ego does not always lead to delinquent behavior. Okay. Individuals may develop one or more, okay, of the following defense mechanism, okay, to deal with the conflict. Paano natin naharapin yung conflict? Okay. First is the repression. The repression, a defense mechanism in which the threatening impulses, the wishes, and feelings yung nararamdaman natin are automatically kept from consciousness. Okay. Denial. Okay. A defense mechanism that refers to blocking out part of external rather than the internal reality. Okay. How about the displacement? Okay. This is a defense mechanism that uses a substitute person, okay, or object to gratify impulse. Okay? Pag pinagalitan ka, pag uwi mo sa bahay, pagagalitan mo rin yung mga nasa bahay. Okay? Is displacement. A regression, the return to a pattern of reaction characteristic of a less mature mode of adjustment. Okay? Kung hindi mo na kaya, umiyak ka na lang. Okay? So, reaction formation, the replacement of forbidden impulse with its opposite. For example, sometimes kasi, the crusaders against pornography, alcohol, and gambling, okay, are those who have once been most susceptible to these biases. Sila kung minsan yung mga malapit na makagawa ng mga ganitong mga bisyo. Although sila ay mga crusader, ayoko ng pornography, ayoko ng alcohol, ayoko ng gambling, pero sila yung mga malalipitid sa paggawa sa mga bisyo nito. Reaction formation. And the rationalization. Okay? The justification of behavior will socially acceptable. Okay, so that is a rationalization. And next is the cognitive. Okay? Cognitive development theory. Okay? We will know that the moral development and the delinquency, the relationship between the moral development and delinquency, okay, focuses on cognitive development. Okay. It assumes that individuals develop in a sequential manner. Okay. That is, a person passes through a step, one step in development, then another step, and so on. So, in the cognitive development theory, there are 6 stages of moral development, according to Colburn. So, the first stage is the punishment and the obedience orientation. So, in the stage 1, it is right. Okay? Right is obedience to power and the rules and the avoidance of punishment. Okay? The stage 2 is hedonistic orientation. So in the hedonistic orientation, right correspond to seeing one's own needs met. Okay? Taking responsibility for oneself and allowing others to do the same. About in stage 3, interpersonal concordance. Okay. In stage 3, right is having good intention and motives of being concerned for others. So in the stage 4, law and order orientation. So right is doing one's duty. Tama yung gawin mo yung trabaho mo to the society and others and maintaining the rules of the society. Okay. Sundin mo ang batas. Okay. Social contract, legalistic orientation. Okay. It is right. Okay. Right is defined as upholding the rules and values agreed upon by the society, a social contract. And stage 6, the orientation to universal ethical principle. Right is an obligation assumed by the individual to principles. Okay. Yung mga principle na yan, such as the justice and equality, okay, which apply to all individuals, and the individuals recognizes the moral rightness of the behavior. So the first 2 stages, okay, the stage 1 and stage 2, are usually completed by the time a person reaches 7 years of age. Okay. Itong stage 1 at saka stage 2, okay, ang sabi is it is usually completed by the time a person reaches 7 years old. Okay. While the stage 3 and 4, okay, are passed through a completed from the what we call pre-adolescence through adolescence stage. Okay. While the last 2 stages begin in early adulthood. Ito yung stage 5 and stage 6. So in stage 2, children define what is right, okay, as what satisfies their needs. So that is why it is referred to as the hedonistic orientation stage. So at this stage, children define something as right if they are not punished for it. Okay? So, kapag walang kumukontra sa kanila, ang pagkakalat nila, walang nagpaparusa sa kanila, alam nila, tama yun. Okay. Children define something as right if they are not punished for it. Okay. Especially in the, dito sa stage 1, the punishment and obedience orientation. Okay. So, walang kumukontra sa kanila, walang nagpaparusa dito sa stage 1. Tama sa kanila. Okay. So that is the cognitive development theory. How about personality disorder? When we say personality disorder, this is the emotional and behavioral attributes of an individual. So when we say the antisocial personality disorder, frequently the terms psychopaths and sociopaths are used to describe some delinquents. Okay, these terms technically refer to a condition known as the antisocial personality disorder. So what are the characteristics or some of the characteristics of antisocial personality disorder? First is repeatedly performing acts that are grounds for arrest. Ulit-ulit na lang ginagawa yung mali. Deceitfulness, impulsivity, irritability and aggressiveness, reckless disregard for safety of self or others, consistent irresponsibility, and the lack of remorse. Okay. Ito yung mga karakteristik ng mayroong antisocial personality disorder. Okay. So next is we'll go now to the social theories of delinquency. Okay, these social theories focus on factors that influence delinquency. So including association with delinquent peers, lack of opportunity, and family relationships. So the three major types of social theories, delinquency is the social structure, social process, and the social reaction. So the social structure focus on the economic and social conditions in which the lower class youth live. Okay. The social process is analyze the impact of delinquency of factors, okay, such as the peer group, yung mga kaibigan natin, peer group relationships, family relationships, and failure in school. And the social reaction theories, it examines the role that societal institutions, including the juvenile justice system, play in perpetuating delinquent behavior. Okay. Social structure theories. So social structure theories examine why only why lower class youth are more likely to commit crime than middle and upper class youth. So middle class and the upper class do commit crime, but their crimes are usually less serious than those committed by lower class. Mas less serious yung nagagawa ng mga nasa middle and upper class. Basically, social structure theories focus on the two major factors that influence delinquency. So, what are these two major factors that influence delinquency? We have the socioeconomic conditions and the cultural values. Okay? Ano bang kalagayan nila sa buhay? Ano bang kultura meron sila? Okay. So, under the social structure theories, there are three social structure. We have the ecological, strain, and the subculture theory. Okay. So when we say ecological theory, okay, it seeks to explain delinquency based on where it occurs. Saan ba nanggagaling? Okay. Yung delinquency na yan. And the most prominent ecological theory is the theory of Clifford Shaw and Henry Mackay's The Social Disorganization Theory in 1920. Okay. So it was the social disorganization theory was one of the first attempts to focus on the social conditions that lead to delinquency. So they explain why juvenile crime rates were so very high in areas of a city characterized by urban decay. Okay? So they argued that the ecological conditions of the city influenced delinquency. Because Shaw and Mackay studied the juvenile court and the police records of juvenile delinquents from Chicago to determine the areas of the city that had been highest delinquency rate. So, naimapa nila ni Shaw and Mackay the delinquency rates na nakita nila sa Chicago. Okay? They mapped the delinquency rate and found that delinquent patterns were distributed in 5 concentric circle. Ito yung naging mapa ni Henry McKay and Clifford Show dun sa Chicago City. Okay. The 5 concentric circle moving from the central business dito sa gitna, okay, to the suburbs dito na sa labas. Okay. So dito sa zone 1, sa 5 concentric circle, ang zone 1 is the factory zone. Okay, while zone 2 is the zone of transition or yung tinatawag nating interstitial area. Okay, so I will discuss the characteristic of this zone 2, okay, later on. Okay. So next is the zone 3. We have the working people's homes. Okay. It comprised the homes and apartment of working people who have left the zone of transition. Okay, and zone 4 is the residential zone, and comprised of more expensive homes and apartments. And zone 5 is the commuter zones or the suburbs. Yeah. Okay. So I will now discuss the zone of transition. Okay. So the zone of transition is one of the oldest area, okay, of the city and surrounding the central business district. Okay, siya yung nakapalibot dito sa central business district. So it is frequently invaded by business as the central business district expand. Okay. So the zone of transition consistently had the highest delinquency rate in comparison to other zone. Ito yung may pinakamataas na delinquency rate, itong zone of zone in transition na ito. Okay. So this zone is frequently referred to as the interstitial area. Okay. So Xiu and Mackey argued that factors in environment of these interstitial areas of a city led to delinquency. Okay. So what are the characteristics of this interstitial area? We have the cultural heterogeneity, mobility, and poverty. So when we say cultural heterogeneity, the neighbors who may not understand each other's cultural differences. Okay. Hindi mag-uusap ang mga yan. May kanya-kanyang kultura ang mga yan. So the limited group cohesion in the neighborhood due to the cultural heterogeneity made delinquency more likely because powerful. How about mobility? So individuals would obtain better jobs and move away from the zone of transition. Okay? Therefore, there was a rapid turnover in the population of interstitial areas which hindered the development of a common set of neighborhood norms. Okay. The prescription for appropriate behavior and values. Nagkakaroon ng pagbabago ng mga pag-ugali. And the poverty is those who live in poverty are more likely to commit delinquent acts. Yung mga nasa mababang antas ng lipunan, yung mga mahihirap. So this is the five concentric circle of the social disorganization theory. Next is the strain theory, or what we call the black opportunity theory. So the strain theory, the second major type of social structure theory, is ang sinasabi ng mga strain theories na yan is delinquency as a result of a lack of opportunity, in particular of economic opportunity. Okay? So those who do not have equal opportunity are strained and consequently more likely to be delinquent. So strained individuals are more prevalent when there is poverty. Okay? Kapag mayroong kahirapan, talagang mapipigilan. Okay? Yung mga tao sa pagkamit ng kanilang mga goals sa kanilang buhay o Walang pera, hindi ka makakapag-aral. Walang pera, hindi ka makakapagpatay ng bahay. Yun yung mga dahilan. Okay? So, si Robert Merton, okay, under the Merton's strain theory, okay, ang sabi niya is the cultural goal of US citizens is material wealth and that this goal is made widespread through media, okay, cultural messages as well as through other mechanisms. So in our society kasi, institutionalized means of reaching the primary goal. Okay, ano yung primary goal natin? We have ito, education, occupation, and deferral of gratification. Ito yung mga gusto natin. Okay? These are the institutionalized means reaching primary goals. Ito yung dapat meron ka. Education, occupation, deferral of gratification. Okay? So, however, not everyone has equal access. Hindi naman tayo pare-parehas to the institutionalized means. Hindi tayo pare-parehas dito sa institutionalized means na yan. To education, occupation, and deferral of gratification. Especially sa mga mahihirap na hindi nakapag-aral, walang education. Kung walang education, walang occupation. Ganyan lang yan. So, poorer members of the society have less access to education. Okay? And good jobs done to members of the middle class and upper class. Okay? Kapag nakapag-aral ka, meron kang trabaho na maganda. Pero kung hindi ka nakapag-aral, hindi ka makakahanap ng magandang trabaho. Okay? So, people are blocked in their ability to access education, okay, and good jobs because they experience a discrepancy between the desire to obtain economic success and the ability to do so. Okay. So, there are 5 modes of adaptation developed by Robert Merton. Okay. One is, or first is the conformity. So when we say conformity, a conformist, okay, both accept the cultural goal of economic success and accept the institutionalized means to obtain the success. A conformist is highly unlikely to commit delinquent acts. Pag sinabi mong conformity, okay, tinatanggap niya yung cultural goal. Okay, ano yung cultural goal na yan? Okay, yung pagkakaroon ng pera, for example, yung material wealth. Okay? Pero dapat kang mag-aral. Ang sabi naman ng conformist. Okay? Tinatanggap ko yung institutionalized means para makuha ko yung goal ko. Dapat makapag-aral ako, dapat magkaroon trabaho yan. Okay? Then, deferral of gratification. How about ritualism? A ritualist rejects cultural goal of economic success but accepts the institutionalized means to obtain the cultural goal. Okay? The ritualists respond to strain by lowering their aspirations for financial success but they still accept the means to obtain it. Okay? Such as the employment and education. Okay? So it is unlikely that ritualists who are heavily represented in the lower middle class will commit delinquent acts. Okay? It rejects the cultural goal. Wala kang goal sa buhay mo, pero gusto mong mag-aral, gusto mong magkatrabaho. Okay? Para magkaroon ng pera. Next is innovation. Okay? So, an innovator accepts the goal of economic success. Gusto kong maging success sa buhay ko, but rejects the institutionalized means. Sabi mo, gusto mong maging mayaman, pero hindi mo naman ginagawa itong education na yan, yung occupation na yan, yung deferral of gratification na yan. Okay? So, ano ang ginagawa mo? Gusto mong yumaman, pero ayaw mong aral. So, the innovator may commit offenses. Okay, para maging success. Okay, such as drug dealing, robbery, yan. Gusto mo kang yumaman, di ka naman nag-aral, pero ang gusto mo is yung madali. Okay? Robbery yan. Kakaroon ng innovation. And retreatism. Okay? Sa retreatism, retreatists reject both cultural goal and economic success. Okay? And any institutionalized means to obtain it. Okay? Retreatists do not aspire to financial success, nor are they concerned with education and employment. Okay? They frequently escape into drug addiction and may commit crimes to support their drug use. Okay? Ayaw niyang magtrabaho. Wala siyang pangarap sa kanyang buhay. Okay? Pero gusto niyang mag-drugs. Okay? Mag-bisyo. Okay? Mga tamad. And the last one is a rebellion. Okay? A rebel rejects the cultural goal and the means to attain but substitute a new goals kagaya ng mga NPA. Okay? Ayaw nila ng demokrasya pero gusto nila ng rebellion, gumagawa sila ng hindi maganda. Okay? Ayaw nila ng demokrasya. Okay? This adaptation is likely to lead delinquency and can be represented by gangs, militias, yung mga kulto, yan. So delinquency is likely to occur among rebels but it will not be as prevalent as delinquency among innovators. Okay. So this is a trade theory. Another one is the subculture theory. Ito yung tinatawag natin cultural deviance. Okay, in the subculture, when we say subculture, it is a set of values, norms, and belief that differs from those with the dominant culture. Okay. So in the subculture theory, delinquent youth holds values, norms, beliefs in opposition to those held in the dominant culture. So the youth who behave in a manner that is consistent with the values, that is consistent with the norms and the belief of their subculture will often be in conflict with the law. Okay. So in this subculture theory, there are three theories. We have the frustration theory of Cohen, the differential opportunity theory of Cloward and Olin, and the lower class focal concern of Miller. Okay. So in the delinquency of Cohen, okay, the goal of the lower class youth is middle class membership. Ang gusto ng mga nasa lower class, gusto maging isang middle class. Okay. So however, the lower class youth face developmental handicap. Okay, that place them at a disadvantage in obtaining their goal of middle class membership. Okay, so this developmental handicap include the lack of educational preparation and the inability to delay gratification. Okay, bakit? Kasi ang lower class members have norms and values that differ from those in the middle class. Mayroong pagkakaiba ng paniniwala yung o values yung nasa middle class at saka lower class families. Okay? So, ang lower class families cannot teach their children the proper socialization techniques, okay, necessary for middle class membership. Hindi natin natuturuan yung mga, lalong yung mga nasa lower class, hindi natuturuan yung kanilang mga anak, okay, kung paano yung tamang pakikihalubilo. Okay, unlike to the middle class. Okay. So, how do young people of the lower class achieve middle class membership? Paano ba sila magiging middle class member? Okay. So the primary means of becoming a member of the middle class is education. Dapat mayroon kang edukasyon para maging member ka ng middle class. So the standard and values used in school to evaluate youth is the middle class measuring rod. Okay. Itong middle class measuring rod includes ambition. May ambition ka ba? Responsibility. Deferred gratification. Hindi mo ba inuuna yung gratification mo, yung luho mo? Courtesy. Ability to control aggression. constructive use of time and respect for property. Ito yung tinatawag nating middle class measuring rods. Kung gusto mong maging member ng middle class, dapat meron ka nito. Ambition, responsibility, gratification, courtesy, yan. Okay? So, essentially, lower class use are being evaluated by measures grounded in middle class values and norms, okay, to which they are not accustomed. So, the middle class measuring rods make it difficult, okay, mahirap sa mga lower class children. Okay? Yung ambition, kasi nga mahirap ka, walang ambition ng bayan. Okay? Nagkakaroon ng status frustration. Okay? Yung status frustration, it occurs due to a person's inability to obtain the goal of middle class status. Mapro-frustrate ka na. Okay? Nakapagtapos ka ng high school, nung papunta ka na ng college, wala kang pera, wala kayong pera, makamparal. That's status frustration. Okay? So, nawawalan ka na ng gana. So, next is Cloward and Olin's differential association theory. Okay? So, Richard Cloward and Lloyd Olin focus on serious delinquency committed by urban male gang members. Okay, nakapokus naman siya sa delinquent acts na nagagawa ng mga male gang members sa urban areas. So, they asserted that two goals pursued by lower class youth were economic success and or middle class membership. So sabi ni Richard Cloward and Lloyd Olin na ang goal ng mga male gang members sa mga urban areas is magkaroon na economic success and middle class membership. Okay? So they believe that illegal opportunities, okay, like conventional opportunities, are stratified unequally. So this means that there is an illegitimate opportunity structure, okay, just as there is a legitimate opportunity structure for success. Okay. Pag sinabi mong legitimate opportunity structure, it involves education, hard work, and good occupation. So, yan yung legitimate opportunity. Dapat meron kang education, hard work, and social occupation. Okay? And not everyone has access to this opportunity structure to obtain economic success. Hindi lahat ay mayroong ganitong opportunity. Yung meron education, hard work, and good occupation para magkaroon ka ng tinatawag na economic success. While the legitimate opportunity structure, that includes criminal enterprises in neighborhoods, okay, where there are criminal mentors to assist youth in becoming successful criminals. Okay? So, because having a mentor and other types of opportunities do not exist in every neighborhood, okay? Not everyone has access to the means to be a criminal. Okay? Isipin natin ito. Okay? Could you be a successful criminal? Okay? Kapag ninakaw mo o kinarnap mo yung isang sasakyan, okay? Meron ka bang contacts para ma-dispose mo yung sasakyan na yon? Okay? Meron ka bang connection to be, for example, a drug dealer? Okay. Obviously, you would have to know not only where to buy quantities of drugs, but you would also have to associate with individuals who are willing to buy drugs. Most of the answer of these questions will be no. Okay. That is the exact point of Cloward and Olin, okay, that achieving by new means is more than a matter of choosing to commit crime. Okay. Although there are illegitimate opportunity structures in many neighborhoods, not everyone has equal access to this structure. Okay. So when a delinquent subculture or gangs are established with a different set of values, norms, and beliefs, The type of delinquent gang that develops will depend on the neighborhood in which the user live and whether they have access to illegitimate opportunity. Magnanakaw ka ng kotse, meron ka bang pagdidisposan yan? Okay. Nagtitinda ka ng drugs, meron ka bang connection dyan? Okay. Kaya sabi ng dalawa, ni Cloward and Olin, okay, that achieving success by new means is more than a matter of choosing to commit crime. Okay. Next is what we call the Miller's lower class focal concern. Okay. According to Walker B. Miller, okay, he is an anthropologist who studied the lower class areas in Boston in 1955. Okay, and formulated his lower class focal concerns theory based on his field observation. Okay. So Miller's basic tenet was that society is composed of various social groups. So it's with its distinctive subculture. Okay. Halimbawa, si Miller kasi, he recognized that delinquency may occur because youth are following certain norms. Kasi meron tayong kanya-kanya na sinusunod na panuntunan and values of the lower class which puts them in violation of law. So what are the 6 focal concerns that describe 6 values of lower class subculture? Okay, first is trouble. So when we say trouble, value by which people are evaluated based on their involvement in troublemaking activity. Okay, ikaw ba ay basagulero? Lagi-lagi ka ba may trouble? Okay, toughness. Ito kasi yung mga 6 values of lower class subculture, yung mga nasa mababang yung mga sa mababang antas ng lipunan, yung mga mahihirap. Okay, toughness. Okay, toughness. The value of physical strength, fighting ability, and masculinity. So, matitigas daw yung mga muscle-muscle. Yan. Smartness, the value of the ability to be streetwise and to con people. Excitement, the value of thrill-seeking through gambling, fighting, and getting intoxicated. Okay, faith, the value of belief that most things that happen people are beyond their control and autonomy. Okay. The value of personal freedom resulting in active disdain of authority. Yan yung 6 values of lower class culture according to Walker B. Miller. Okay. So these focal concerns differentiate the lower class form, the lower class from the middle and upper class. Okay. So, the three social structure theories support the argument that socioeconomic condition and cultural values in the lower class lead to delinquency. Ano yung katayuan mo sa buhay, ano yung mga cultural values ninyo, ito ay maaaring mag-lead sa inyo kung maging dahilan para magkaroon ng tinatawag nating delinquency. Okay? So because delinquency occurs because of the following reasons: the environment, kung saan ka nakatira, the inability to obtain goals through lack of equal access, wala kang pinag-aralan, walang opportunity, yan. And the adherence to lower class values, the subculture theory. Ito yung mga rason kung bakit mayroong delinquency dito sa social structure theory. Okay? We'll go to the social process theory. Okay? The social process theory, it is focused on the relationship between the socialization and delinquency. Okay? In particular, social process theories analyze the relationship of delinquency of certain factors. What are these factors? Kagaya ng peer group relationships, family relationships, and failure to school. Okay? So, individuals associated with delinquent peers are themselves at significant risk of committing acts. Okay? Kung meron kayong mga delinquent peers, malapitin ka sa delinquency. Okay? Individuals who have been raised in dysfunctional family, yung mga hindi na magkakasundong pamilya, okay, or without proper nurturing are a greater risk of delinquency. Okay? And also yung mga drop out sa school. Okay? Malapit din sila sa tinatawag natin delinquency. So there are two primary branches of social process theories. We have the learning theory and we have the social control theory. In the learning theory, according to this theory, juveniles commit delinquent acts because they learn attitude, skills, and rationalization necessary to commit acts. Natututunan yung, sabi dito sa learning theory, natututunan yung tinatawag nating attitudes. Okay. So there are three learning theories. We have the differential association, differential reinforcement, and the technique of neutralization or the drift theory. Okay. In the differential association theory of Edwin Sutherland, delinquent behaviors is a function of learning and not a function of either the ability to obtain economic success or of living in a socially disorganized area of a city. So the theory that delinquency results from social interaction and learning. Okay? So there are nine formal propositions that demonstrate that social interaction and learning lead to delinquency. So these are the nine principles of differential association. Okay? So ang sabi is criminal behavior is learned. Ang pagkakaroon ng criminal behavior, sabi ni Edwin Sutherland, ay napapag-aralan yan, natututunan yan. Okay? Criminal behavior is learned in interaction with other persons in a process of communication. So this communication is verbal and it involves interaction with others. Kaya natututunan mo yung criminal behavior na yan because of communication. Okay. Another one is the principal part of the learning of criminal behavior occurs with intimate personal group. Sino yung mga intimate personal group ninyo? Okay, like yung mga parents, okay, siblings, peers. Okay. So therefore, the families and peers have the greatest influence of learning delinquent behavior and attitudes. Natututunan minsan kasi sa bahay yan. Okay. When criminal behavior is learned, the learning includes techniques of committing the crime, specific direction of motives, drives, rationalization, and attitudes. Okay. In the process of learning delinquent behavior, so a juvenile will learn how to commit the offense. Okay. Halimbawa, okay, in learning how to steal a car, okay, yung paano mo matututunan yung pagnanakaw o pangkakarnap or how to break into a house. So a juvenile also learns appropriate attitudes and rationalization, okay, necessary to justify the delinquent behavior. Okay. Another one is number 5, the specific direction of motives and drives is learned from definition of the legal codes as favorable or unfavorable. Kaya sabi ni Edwin Sutherland, okay, that an individual may be surrounded by persons who define the legal code as rules to be observed. Okay? In this case, delinquency is unlikely because the juvenile believes the law is something to be followed. So, alam ng bata na mayroong mga batas, okay, na nagbabawal sa paggawa ng krimen. But however, some individuals associate with people who define the legal code in ways that are favorable to the violation of law. So obviously, delinquency is much more likely in the second instance. For example, yung mga matatanda sinasabi, gumawa ka lang ng krimen kasi hindi ka naman huhuliin dahil minor de edad ka. So talagang gagawa ng krimen yung bata kasi hindi naman huhulihin kasi minor de edad niya. Another one, a person becomes delinquent because of an excess definition favorable to violation of law or definition of the law. So a favorable definition occurs when a youth is exposed to ideas or behaviors that are defiant. Okay. When through association with others, a juvenile has obtained more definition that are favorable to the violation of the law than are unfavorable, then delinquency is more is likely to occur. Okay. So this principle explains why delinquents may think that some delinquent acts are appropriate while others are not. Okay. For example, a juvenile may think that committing burglary, pagnanakaw, is appropriate. Okay? But committing robbery is wrong. O mas maganda daw nakaw na lang kaysa sa robbery. Okay, next is differential association may vary in frequency, duration, priority, and intensity. So in the association with delinquent and non-delinquent behavior, vary depending on the quality or number of social interaction. So when we say the frequency and duration of the interaction will determine how much attention juveniles will pay to definitions. Okay? They will pay more attention to definitions obtained from those who frequent contacts. Okay? Yung lagi nilang nakakasama. Okay? Or from those with whom they have been in contact for a long period, yung mga lagi nilang makasama, matagal na, kakilala na. So doon sila na nakikinig. Okay. How about priority? It involves the importance of delinquent or non-delinquent behavior to the juvenile. So, inassume ni Sutherland na when lawful behavior developed in early childhood, it was likely to persist throughout life. Okay? Kapag natutunan ng bata yung mga lawful behavior na yan noong bata pa siya, okay, it will, sabi niya, it was likely to persist throughout life. But when delinquent behavior developed in early childhood, it was also likely persist. Kung habang bata ay natututunan niya yung delinquency na yan, dadalhin niya hanggang sa pagtanda. While the intensity involves the prestige of the source of delinquent and non-delinquent pattern and the emotional reactions related to the associations. Okay. The next is the process of learning criminal behavior by association with criminal and anti-criminal patterns involve all the mechanisms that are involved in any other learning. So it means that learning delinquent behavior is not different than learning any other behavior. And the last one is the criminal behavior is an expression, okay, of general needs and values. It is not explained by those general needs and values since non-criminal behavior is an expression of the same needs and values. So according to Sutherland, he argued that thieves steal in order to obtain money. Yung mga magnanakaw, okay, para makakuha ng pera, kailangan nilang nakawin yun. Okay? But sabi niya is workers work to obtain money. Yung iba naman nagtatrabaho para magkaroon ng pera. Okay? So one cannot say that a juvenile commits delinquent act to get money because that is the same reason why other juvenile works at a local restaurant. Okay? In other words, the need for money explains unlawful behavior as well as it explains lawful behavior. Okay? Kaya ang differential association theory ni Edwin Sutherland is, ang sabi dyan is, delinquency is a learned behavior. Okay? Yan ang differential association theory. Delinquency is a learned behavior. Okay, remember that. Okay, next is differential reinforcement theory. This is the theory of Ronald Akers. Okay. Differential reinforcement theory integrated the differential association and the learning theory of operant conditioning. Okay. So when we say operant conditioning, learning theory that argues that behavior is controlled by consequences of that behavior. So everyone receives positive and negative reinforcement behaviors. Okay. So in the positive reinforcement, okay. So in the positive reinforcement, it is a reward, okay, and is designed to increase the behavior being rewarded. So halimbawa, yung isang babae binigyan ng pera para linisin yung isang kwarto. Okay? Then the positive reinforcement of the reward is likely to lead her to continue cleaning up her room. Okay? That is a rewarded behavior. Okay? Binigyan mo ng pera para maglinis ng kwarto, so maglilinis ulit yan. Pag bigyan mo ulit ng pera, that is a rewarded behavior. Okay? About the negative reinforcement, okay? It is a punishment. Okay? Designed to decrease the behavior. Okay? Ito naman ay pagpaparusa. Okay? Halimbawa, yung isang bata nahuling nag-cutting class. Okay? At yung magulang ay pinarusahan siya. So, it is unlikely that she will skip school in the future. Okay? Hindi na mag-cutting class yan because that is the what we call punish behavior. Okay? That is the negative reinforcement. Okay? So, therefore, behavior is controlled by the rewards and punishment people receive for their behavior. Okay? If a positive reinforcement is given after a person commits a delinquent act, the person has received a reward for that behavior. Okay? So, it is to be expected that the person will continue the behavior. Halimbawa, yung isang bata, okay, pumasok sa isang bahay at nagnakaw ng kung ano-ano, halimbawa ng alahas. Okay? Ano yung magiging positive reinforcement? For example, ano yung kanyang matatanggap for that behavior? Okay? Kapag sinabi nung nagnakaw na yan sa kanyang mga kaibigan, oy, ako, nagnakaw, pinasok ko yung isang bahay, nakuha ko yung mga maraming alahas, naibenta ko, marami akong pera. Okay? At ang sinabi at ang sagot naman ng kanyang mga kaibigan is, ay, ang galing mo naman, paano mo ginawa yan? That is the what we call reward. Okay? They express support and award prestige for the delinquent action. Then, he is likely to continue. Okay? Kapag sinuportan niyo yung kanyang ginagawa, yung ginawa is itutuloy niya yung kanyang delinquent act. Okay? Okay? So, if a juvenile may also receive a negative reinforcement for a behavior, so it direct a punishment and is less likely to continue the behavior. So, ang magiging negative reinforcement dito is yung punishment. So, kapag mayroong punishment, hindi na magko-continue sa kanyang deviant behavior. Okay. So another one is the techniques of neutralization or drift theory. So in this drift theory, according to Gresham Skype and David Matza, they also took the position that the process of becoming delinquent is a learning experience. Okay, they argued that most delinquents hold the conventional values, norms, and the belief, and must learn to neutralize the values before committing delinquent acts. Okay, because most delinquents are not committed to a delinquent lifestyle and only commit delinquent acts and on rare occasions. So juvenile delinquents use the what we call techniques of neutralization that shield them from any sense of guilt and allow them to drift into delinquency and then back into the conventional behavior. Ito yung tinatawag natin kung minsan na drift theory. Okay? In this drift theory, we have 5 techniques of neutralization. We have the first, denial responsibility. In the denial responsibility, when a juveniles state that their behavior was an accident or resulted from forces beyond their control, okay, the unloving parents, bad companions, or living in a criminogenic neighborhood, they deny the responsibility. So this juvenile saying, I did not mean to do it, it reflects the denial responsibility. Next is the denial of injury. So this technique of neutralization occurs when a juvenile deny, okay, the wrongfulness of their action or express their belief that the offense does not really cause any harm. The other one is denial of victim. In the denial of victim, when juveniles believe that the victim deserved the injury or the victim caused the offense to occur, they deny that there is a victim. Okay. How about the condemnation of the condemners? So when the juveniles shift the blame to others by focusing attention on the motive and behavior of those who disapprove of their actions, they are condemning the condemners. So using this neutralization technique, the juveniles challenge those who condemn the actions. So these juveniles argue that the police are corrupt and the parents take out their frustration on their children. And the last one is the appeal to higher loyalties. So when the juveniles allow their peer group to take precedence over the rules of society, they are practicing a neutralization technique. Okay? Kung minsan sinasabi is hindi ko yan ginawa. Hindi ko yan ginawa sa sarili ko lang. Okay? Ginawa namin ng aking mga kaibigan. Okay? So that is the drift theory. Okay. Social control theory. When you say social control theory, this theory seeks to answer the question why don't juveniles commit delinquent acts? Or social control theory assumes that people will violate law. So the answer to this question, according to the social theories, lies in the strength of individuals' ties to the foundation of the society. So what are the foundations of the society? We have the family, friends, and the school. Okay. So those who have close ties with their families and non-delinquent friends, okay, as well as those possess high self-esteem, are unlikely to commit delinquent acts. Yung maganda yung samahan ng pamilya at meron silang atiwala sa sarili, malayo sila sa makagawa ng isang delinquent acts. Okay? These individuals are bonded to the larger society. So individuals who are not bonded to the larger social order are free from constraint to violate the law. Okay? So we have the containment theory of Walter Reckless. Okay? In the internal external forces operates when juveniles make decisions to avoid or commit delinquent acts. So in this theory, we have four motivating restraining forces of delinquency according to Walter Reckless. We have the inner pressures and pulls. Okay, the inner pressures and pulls leads to juveniles towards committing delinquent acts. So the inner forces includes the individual's desire. Ano yung desire natin? Yung pangangailangan natin, needs and wants. Okay, kagaya ng pera. Okay, pwede rin yung feeling of restlessness, the hostility, and the need of immediate gratifications. These are the inner pressures and pulls. Humihila sa atin para gumawa ng delinquent acts. Okay? How about the inner containments? It will inhibit delinquent behavior. Okay? Kapag may inner containments, ito yung mga internal personal controls natin. Okay? Paano ba ko kontrolin yung sarili? Okay? Para mapigilan yung paggawa ng isang delinquent acts, dapat mayroon kang tiwala sa sarili, strong sense of responsibility, yan, moral codes, tolerance of frustration, yan, yung mga inner containments. So how about the outer pressures and pulls? These outer pressures and pulls lead to delinquent behavior, such as influence of the peer group, yan, unemployment, okay, living conditions, yeah, and also associating with delinquent peers. walang trabaho. Okay? So, yan yung mga external forces, okay, para makagawa ng isang delinquent acts. Okay? So, how about the outer containments? The outer containments, it will inhibit delinquent behavior. Okay? So, ano yung mga outer containment? Dapat meron kang disiplina sa sarili, supervision of the parents, police, schools, and the juvenile justice system. Yan yung mga outer containments para mapigilan mo yung paggawa ng delinquent acts. Okay? So, the inner containment are more effective at inhibiting delinquent activity than the outer containments. Okay? Because the outer containments are not always present prior to the commission of delinquent act. So while the inner containments such as the internalization of moral codes, okay, meron ng mga yan. So an individual's self-image and self-esteem are also major predictors of these four cells will dominate behavior. Okay? So if the individuals have a strong positive self-image, inner containments will dominate their behavior. But however, if a strong positive self-image does not exist, it is more likely that pressures and pulls will dominate behavior. In other words, strong self-image insulates juvenile from delinquency. Okay. How about the social control or social bonding theory of Travis Hershey? Okay, the social bonding theory of Travis Hershey, according to him, people usually do not commit delinquent acts because they fear that this behavior will damage their relationship with their parents, and also their friends, families, teachers, and employers. Okay. Thus, individuals do not commit delinquent acts because they are bonded to the large society. So when these social bonds are broken or diminished, delinquency is likely. So there are four elements of social bond. Okay. According to Travis Hershey, we have the attachment, commitment, involvement, and belief. So in attachment, it describes the emotional and psychological ties of person has with others. Okay. It includes the sensitivity to and interest in other as well as the sense of belonging. Okay. So Travis Hershey believed that the attachment to parent is more important than attachment to peers and its schools. So attachment is the most important element of the social bond. Next is the commitment. It involves the time, energy, and the effort expended in conventional action. Okay. For example, someone who has worked hard to get a good education is not likely to jeopardize those efforts by committing crime. So the more conventional assets people have, okay, such as education, job, and home, uh, the less likely they are to commit crime. Okay. How about involvement? This means a significant time and attention is spent in conventional activities, which leave little time for illegal behavior. So people who are busy working, going to school, and raising children are far less likely to commit crime because they do not have the spare time to indulge temptation to uh, commit crimes. Okay. And the last one is belief. It describes the acceptance of moral legitimacy of law and authority, okay, with an understanding that the law should be obeyed. Okay. Dapat maniwala ka na merong batas at dapat mong sundin ang batas. Okay. So, and we have also the self-control theory of Godfredson and Hershey. Okay. So Travis Hershey and Michael Godfredson argued that later control theory that the tendency to commit crime can be found in the level of self-control. When we say self-control, is the ability to control one's own behavior. Okay. So Godfredson and Hershey proposed that those who commit delinquent acts have low self-control. So yung mga may bababang self-control, sila yung nakakagawa ng delinquent acts. Okay? They tend to be impulsive, insensitive, and need immediate gratification. Okay. So what causes people to have limited self-control? Okay. Lack of self-control is caused by inadequate child rearing practices. So parents must monitor their child's behavior, recognize inappropriate behavior when it occurs, and punish the inappropriate behavior. Okay. So about the social reaction theories. So the social reaction theories examine the role of the societal institutions, okay, including the juvenile justice system, play a perpetuating delinquent behavior. So these theories argue that the reactions of society to delinquent behavior may lead to continuation of behavior. So in social reaction theories, we have two major types of social reaction theory. We have the labeling and the conflict theory. In labeling theory, it emphasizes explanations of why certain laws are passed and enforced and why police and juvenile court personnel process some offenders but not others. Okay. Labeling theories argued that the law represents the values and interests of individuals and organizations that are able to organize resources to influence legislation. Okay. So in this labeling jury, especially to Edwin Lemert, he proposed that the reaction to delinquency is what causes it in the future. So most juvenile commits act of delinquency and are never brought into juvenile justice system for processing. Okay, so not all youths labeled delinquent accept these roles. Okay, how receptive they are as to such labels depend on their social class. So in the primary deviance, so the initial acts of delinquency that go undetected by parents, family, friends, and juvenile justice systems. Okay? Ito yung primary deviance, yung undetected by parents. Okay? So individuals who commit acts on primary deviance are not considered delinquents by their parents, family, friends, or by the juvenile justice system because their behavior has gone undetected. Kasi hindi nga nakikita naman. Okay? People who have only committed acts primary deviance do not see themselves delinquents. However, those whose illegal actions are detected and who are processed in the system are more likely to see themselves as delinquent. Okay. How about secondary deviance? The secondary deviance continued delinquent behavior because of the individual is now acting according to delinquent label. Okay, so it involves the continued delinquent behavior because individuals are now acting according to the change in their self-image. Okay, so that is the secondary deviance. The status degradation ceremony, the term was coined to Harold Garfinkel to describe the labeling process. This involves the lowering a person's status from non-delinquent to delinquent. Okay, that is a status degradation ceremony. So about the labeling theory of Frank Tattenbaum. So Tattenbaum rejected the dualistic fallacy. So when we say dualistic fallacy, the idea that delinquents and non-delinquents are two fundamentally different types of uh, people. So Tattenbaum sees delinquents as well-adjusted people. The delinquent behavior is behavior so labeled by the adults in the community. Okay, and the adults who have more power than delinquents are able to have children labeled delinquent. So once children are labeled delinquent, they become delinquent. That is according to Frank Tattenbaum. Okay. So about conflict theory. So in the conflict theories are state that delinquent behavior is due to conflict in society that arises from an unfair distribution of wealth and power. Okay. So conflict theories are concerned with the role government plays in creating an environment that is conducive to crime. Okay, they are also concerned with the role that power has in controlling and shaping the law. Conflict juries deal with the bias within the juvenile justice system. Okay, in this control theory, the power control theory by John Hagan, delinquency rates are a function of class position or the power and family function or the control. So the power control theory states that the family model reproduces its power relations to the in the workforce. Okay, so theories used in phenomenon to explain why females have had lower delinquency rates than males. So many households were paternalistic or patriarchal families. So, pag sinabi mong patriarchal family, the mother stayed at home taking care of the children while the father worked outside the home. So, the boys were more likely to be delinquent than girls because the boys were taught to be risk takers and were given more freedom while the girls, okay, were strictly controlled by the mother. So with the shift of egalitarian families in which mothers and the fathers work outside the home, so delinquency rates between males and females will be similar. Okay, so that is the conflict theory. So in the integrated structural Marxist by Mark Covin and John Foley, they argued that delinquency occurs because of the inadequate socialization with the family. Kulang yung socialization ng pamilya. Okay? If the parents do not have the power or responsibility at work, then they are likely to try and control and dominate at home. Okay? If parents work in a coercive environment, kung ang parents ay nagtatrabaho sa isang magulong environment, they have likely to reproduce the same environment at home. Madadala nila sa kanilang mga bahay. Okay? So negative experience in the workplace can lead to inconsistent and overly punitive discipline at home. Okay? So the factor that began the process of delinquency was a lack of power in the workplace. Okay, so that's all, and thank you, and God bless.